done on my back, which is healing at the moment, but it led me to already want to get another tattoo done. Sorry, siren. Sorry about that. So yeah, I got a tattoo recently on my back, but it led me to want to get another one already, which I'd like to get of Sid Highwind from Final Fantasy VII. I like this pose where he has his lance. He's like roughly like a dragoon character. Another siren. So I'd like to get him done in his field model form, but in this pose. Now this is quite close already. If you mirrored it, his feet are kind of in the same position, the opposite direction. So I printed out a picture of him this size, but that's too big, so what I'm going to do is just try to trace inside the lines and use this model to get what I want, but get it slightly smaller. And then once I've got this drawn out, I will trace it onto some more paper and reposition his arms and add a spear. Although, well, that's the plan anyway. I'm not good at drawing particularly, so this might not go very well. I'm going to stick with the bottom line here for his jawline. These pictures aren't this dark normally, but I just dug my printer out of storage and it's made them a lot darker when I've printed them out for some reason. This chimney needs to be lower than that. Okay, now I need to cut in. So it's a bit of a shame because I need to do some rough guidelines, which is quite difficult considering I can't really see the pencil lines, but I don't want to do it in pen, only to mess it up. So what might be easier for me is just to do more of a rough outline and then build on that afterwards. When I've got more freedom on a blank page to draw, because currently I can't really see much of what I'm doing here, and I don't have a light box either. I had a Perspex sheet that I could have used as a makeshift light box, but I can't find it at the moment. It's in one of the cupboards in the apartment, and it's just a bit of a nightmare trying to dig it out, because my flatmate keeps just piling tons of shit into our cupboards whenever I tidy them up, he kind of messes them up some more. I'm just trying to figure out where his sleeve goes here. That whole thing looks like it actually, I think. This might be his sleeve, and then he has a grey sleeve that comes out at the bottom. Honestly, this is probably the kind of job that would be easier to do on a computer using Adobe Illustrator, but I haven't used Illustrator in so long, and I quite like to try and use pencil and pen to illustrate if I can. So I don't see the problem in me trying to do it. Now, in this leftmost image, there's actually a bit more detail to the spikes in his hair. So I'm going to have to try and recreate that at some point. Anyway. I hope I'll be able to see these lines properly when the time comes to go over this in pen. Because what I'll have to do, I imagine, is so that's his scarf. So he does have a shirt. I mean, you probably can see that I'm just working from pixels pretty much here. That could be right, I'm not sure. Something like that. Because the tattoo that I want to get done won't exactly be pixel art per se. It'll have smoother lines. It's gonna have to be reworked, I can already tell. That's fine. I don't mind editing it. That actually makes sense now. This is gonna be a scarf protruding over his left lapel, but going underneath his right lapel. Okay. I'm happy with that line. Hence me carving quite hard into the paper with the pencil. Now this gets really dark, but I almost want to get it up. Oh, it looks like his pants actually meet his scarf. That would make sense from us. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So he's wearing some high old pants, but at the same time, his jacket comes down over his pants. This is quite dangerous also, holding a piece of paper over I can just about make out video, but it's been, I did my role play recently, or released it recently. I've been working on it for a while. Didn't really like it. I had a really nice message from Gothic Whispers saying that she liked it, which is great because she's one of the first people I ever spoke to when I started in ASMR. She was kind of one of the people that I hoped to get approval from, really. Hoped for her to say that she liked what I was doing. So that was nice to get her approval. I got her approval, early on with some other videos, but for it to continue with another video, to know that she's not bored of me yet, not bored of the stuff that I put out, was cool. So thank you very much for the positive feedback. I'm not really a fan of it. I think my acting in it is very poor. I'm not an actor. That's kind of why I've always avoided doing, it just gets white. Role plays of any sort. But I just thought I've got to try one at least once just to see if I can do it. But I think I focus too much on trying to make it something different, and I think as an ASMR video, it suffered as a result. I'm quite sure I could be doing this a lot quicker. I swear this jacket if this is his torso, then there's going to be like a little line here. That feels right to me. I'm just going to have to try and remember. Oh no, wait, because the clothes come to me now, so. Actually, not really. Hello again. The volume seemed kind of low. I think the battery's going on the microphone, so I've turned up the gain to try and combat that. And the recording automatically stopped at one point. And I lost a little bit of dialogue, but I was just saying that I want to take my time with this and not do it too quickly, because it's going to be inked into my skin for the rest of my life, however long that may be. So it is an incredibly simple picture, but I'm not much of an illustrator or an artist. So never was going to be particularly quick with it. I think this hand just blends into the side of his body. So just give it this shape. Like so. I also talked about my video. I think I captured everything I wanted to say about that though. Just that I think my desire to make something different led the video to suffer slightly. This is quite a straight one, unlike ultimately you can see how many times I've drawn over it here. I think I'm going to be unhappy with this leg when the time comes. It's going to require a bit of redrawing. So it would be kind of here would be the point. Yeah, that's better. Okay, now it's boots. They look like they're all one colour. Although they don't, they look almost like he's wearing brown shoes with leggings or something tucked into them. Anyway, let's just do the outline for now. And worry about colours later. What I will most likely do is draw the outline for the artist and then bring in a separate image or load one up on a computer whilst I'm there for colour reference, because I haven't gotten that printer out for years, and as a result oh, his leg's a bit off here. Even in the image it's kind of shifted over. So I'm gonna have to try and, or maybe it's supposed to be. And then we can load the picture up online and use it as a reference. For colour, because the colours will be more vibrant. For instance, he's wearing brown pants and a green jacket. He's got brown gloves on. It's stuff that's kind of hard to tell, distinguish from this low-res image. Just wondering how big that's going to be on my arm. That's the bottom of the feet. Still looking kind of big, actually. But it's fine for now. I'm sorry if is kind of low. Sorry, I needed a inkier pen. Yeah, the battery is, I think, dying in the microphone, and I can't get the casing open at the moment. So it's kind of stuck in there. What I'll try and do. I actually shouldn't do this without underneath, because that's got my I drew out some borderlines to make sure the height would be correct on the final design, so I don't want to draw all over that or let ink run through onto it, because it's going to be my guide for the height of my tattoo design, because I want it to be to scale with the one that I already have on my forearm. Which is a character from the same game. Struggling to see where my lines are here. Still. Okay. Boots done. I'm not even sure how much of this you can or cannot see. I'm wondering if going over the lines this hard is making it go through onto the paper underneath. I hope so, because that would actually make my life a little easier. Because it might sound stupid, I'm sure it will, but I've forgotten the fundamentals of tracing in illustration. I don't have any tracing paper, unfortunately, so I'm just having to do this with the resources I have available to me. Not that I have to, I could have gone out and bought some tracing paper. And in fact, if I had gone out and bought some tracing paper, I would have made life a lot easier for myself.
if I had made life a lot easier for myself.
I wouldn't be me.
Because I typically always make life more difficult for myself. I have no idea why. It's not something I enjoy doing. It just is what it is. Unfortunately. So far, so good. So, I needed to wait for the camera to cool down before I could start recording. So, I took a look at the Google image search for a clearer picture. He does have grey socks. They go into shoes on his field model, and he also has collars, because he's a pilot, he's kind of got that flipped open collar look going on. So I'm trying to get that collar line added in. Comes around here. Comes around here. And scarf as it was. So hopefully that will translate over. When it comes to line drawing it out more carefully. Other than that, it's pretty spot on. I mean, I'm gonna have to change the positioning of this model regardless, because I want him to be standing in this pose, which realistically all I need to do is move this. I'm going to mirror it because his leg's already in the same position. All I need to do is move this arm out more and add the staff behind. I'm just going to add the socks. Also, I got the colors all wrong. When I was describing them earlier, he's got brown boots, brown gloves, a blue jacket, and green pants. Now what? Obviously I quite like the chibi style of the field models, but the other thing I like is that the field models in Final Fantasy VII don't actually match the character models in battle scenes and cutscenes. For example, Sid doesn't have his trousers tucked into socks and brown shoes. He has combat boots and his trousers are tucked into his combat boots. So that's like a little thing that there are going to be people out there that have Sid Highwind tattoos, I'm sure.
anyone out there that has this character model, and if they do, I wonder if they noticed those little nuances and took that into account when they took their design to go and get tattooed. Plus, by redrawing this by hand, you know, I'm adding my own little touches and imperfections or nuances that may not have existed before. I never really planned on getting a Sid tattoo originally. It was only when I thought about it recently, I think I'm going to have to redo that, something like that, and I realized that because Final Fantasy VII is a game I played to death, you know, as a teen, that's why I'm getting the tattoo done, because I want a tattoo, obviously, but I want it to be something. No, that's not. Relevant to me in some way, personal to me in some way. And obviously the game is relevant and personal to me for the amount of time I spent playing it and the amount of kind of feels I got playing it. But if you can get a bit more, then that's great too. And I tried to select images that I can identify with. Now my big back piece, unfortunately, is a cover-up of a tattoo I got when I was younger, and it does, although I like it, it doesn't have much relevance to me at all. It's just to look cool. Whereas the ones on my arms are relevant to me somehow. The characters that I have some relevance to me, or there's something about their characters that speaks to me, I feel. And so I never really considered Sid before until I realized at the age I'm at, I'm actually quite like Sid's character, in that Sid is quite bitter and angry. He's a bitter and angry fellow. He's a good guy. He swears a lot. He doesn't like stupid people, or lazy people, or people that don't appreciate science and technology. So he's cool, I like him. He reminds me of me in a lot of ways, hence why I'm getting the tattoo done, of him specifically. Now this bit's going to be tricky because it's partially invented, because these details, they're so small. On any of the imagery I can find online, that I'm having to ad-lib it a fair bit. I even considered downloading Final Fantasy VII on my PC just so I could get to a point where I met Sid and could manipulate the image to get him close to the camera, but you don't actually take control of Sid for a long time, and I'm not playing Final Fantasy VII again. Not for the foreseeable future. I just put so much time into it. It's moved now, so there's no point. I put so much time into it previously that I don't know. It's like a chapter of my life that's done now. I don't want to go back to. I liked it. I loved it. I enjoyed it. And I've got like fond memories, but plus I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much now as I did when I played it when I was younger, just because I experience games differently these days, and I don't want that to affect or ruin the memory of the game. Because they are very fond memories. I remember in my GCSE art class, I used to spend each art class just talking to one of my classmates about Final Fantasy VII for the whole class. Every time. So we'd just sit there for an hour and talk about Final Fantasy VII for an hour every time. Didn't do any work. Our teacher didn't pay any attention, so we never really got caught, or he didn't really care. This line is too faint and not very good. So the problem I have here now is he's too big. So I'm either going to have to resize him myself, or see if the artist can resize. So I forgot to hit record in the last 5 or so minutes of me talking. Hasn't been captured. What did I talk about? I talked about the fact that I realized my computer has a scanner, so I can scan this image in and resize it to be exactly right. So as long as I get the proportions correct now, I'll be fine. And I also mentioned the fact that I noticed on looking back at some of the footage so far that my face keeps popping into shot, and that I haven't had a shave in a couple of weeks. And I've just tucked all my hair up into a beanie, so I'm looking really sketchy at the moment, which doesn't really matter. The only reason I really ever took care of my personal appearance is for my girlfriend.
unfortunately, that relationship has come to an end. Which sucks, because neither of us really wanted it to come to an end. It just got to a point where although we love each other, we just weren't getting along very well. We weren't having fun, and we weren't really making each other happy anymore. We're still friends, and I still love her very, very much. But we're not together anymore, so I don't really bother to take care of my appearance as a result. Not that it's her fault, just that I can't be bothered to look after my appearance just for my own well-being. I only really did it so I could look nice for her. I'm not really trying to impress anyone anymore, so let's just do that. That actually looks kind of shit. I'm gonna have to work on that and try and fix it. Again, I'm just kind of winging it on his hair here. So I'm gonna do that and that. Yeah, that's much better. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So he's actually turned out being about exactly the size as he is on the page, which is what I was going to specifically try to avoid doing, but it's okay, it doesn't matter. Now, let's try and get the goggles right. I feel I may have gotten wrong already. I want them to be about the same height on his head, despite the angle that he's facing. Okay. Because the goggles on his head are very pixelated, because when they did the character model, it was one of his defining features as a character model from other character models, was him having these goggles on top of his head. So they had to do their best to give them some kind of detail. though they would be too small to give fine detail to. So they did what they could and created quite a few buggy little blocky pixels as a result. I'm going to try and smooth it out right now. But keep that chibi kind of low bit rate look. Yeah, so my appearance is rough, but I don't really care. I'm a kind of a rough person anyway, so it makes sense for me to look rough. A bit rough around the edges. Okay. So you've got the thick goggle tops and the lenses popping down. I need to do it so it doesn't look crappy. So I think the best way to do it is to mimic the top line. Yeah, mimic the top line. And then this one, mimic left line and the top line, then have it fade up into the top line as it goes along for that three-dimensional feel. Okay, so that looks good. You probably can't tell because it's quite dark on the page, but I'm happy with what I've got there. The eyes, his eye is all just jumbled pixels, and this one's not much better either, so I've got to try and apply these eyes to this model on here, so it's kind of going to be from scratch. And honestly, it doesn't seem to matter what kind of eyes I attempt to illustrate, whether they be realistic or cartoony. I typically do them quite badly, so I'm just going to take a time out and grab a drink and then come. Okay, chaps and chapesses, so I decided to go ahead and do the eyes freehand off camera, and it's a kind of mess because it's overlaid with the original image at the moment, but they should actually look okay once the time comes to trace this on to another sheet. I've just got to figure out how I'm going to successfully transfer it onto this paper. I think I'm going to need to tape it down to begin with so that it doesn't move, and then really dig into it with a pencil or something to get the lines to come through. Yeah, so I'm going to try and do that. Okay. So, I'm going to cut the image out. And then I'm going to, be nice if I had some masking tape, but I don't. I just have sellotape. But I don't want this guy to move a millimeter once I begin tracing him down, because the more and more I go over this image, the more and more I'm damaging the paper and making the lines too thick. So I don't want to move the image once I've started, because I don't think there's going to be much possibility for redos once I get started. This is basically it now, I think. So yeah, I want my pencil to be razor sharp, if possible. Don't know where to start. Start on the feet. I could really do with spotlight. I'm actually tearing through the paper. Which isn't such a bad thing. What's better than an indentation? It's an actual line. But again, like I said before, if I mess this up, I'll have to start again from scratch because of the amount of image degradation there is on this initial sketch. But yeah, this pencil is just slicing through. And I'm just praying that it looks okay underneath. Because I don't want to do this all over again, quite frankly. It's taken a long time so far. And I'd like to get this actually tattooed And I have like short stints of creativity as far as like arts and crafts and illustration is concerned. And I can have these bursts where I like to get creative, like to draw something or make something, and then the desire leaves me for like the next 6 to 9 months. Interesting time frame to choose, but yeah, so I don't know how many attempts at this I've actually got in me before I can't be bothered.